Smile for Me Now is unique among the tracks intended for the One Nation album, in that it's the only one to have been officially released in its original form. Or I should say, one of its original forms, but more about that later. However, ironically, the remixed version, known simply as Smile, is better known than the original. Smile for Me Now features a verse from Houston rapper Scarface and a chorus sung by Johnny P, best known for his work with Chicago group Do or Die. This choice of guests underscores Puck's efforts to bring together artists from all over the country on the One Nation project. The track appears on the Death Row Greatest Hits album, released on November 26, 1996, little more than 2 months after Tupac was killed. This was one of 3 releases by Death Row Records that November, the other 2 being The Don Illuminati, The 7 Day Theory, released under Tupac's Machiavelli alias, and Snoop Dogg's The Dogfather. Death Row Greatest Hits was eclipsed by these other 2 higher profile releases, especially the Machiavelli album, and it went under the radar of most fans. This wasn't helped by the fact that only one single was chosen to promote the album, Who Been There, Who Done That by J-Flex. Death Row Greatest Hits was released at a time of turmoil for the label. Their star artist Tupac had been killed 2 months earlier, and boss Suge Knight was in prison pending a hearing on a parole violation. The Machiavelli album and The Dogfather received better promotion, meaning Death Row Greatest Hits was largely overlooked. Releasing Smile for Me Now as a single seems like a no-brainer because of the intense interest in Tupac following his death, and it's surprising Death Row decided not to. If they had done, I'm sure the album would have done better. Just 3 months later, in February 1997, the remix version was released as the lead single for Scarface's 4th album, The Untouchable. On this version, Scarface is the main artist, with Tupac listed as a guest, even though Puck provides 2 of the 3 verses. This was apparently because listing Tupac as a featured artist allowed Death Row Records to exploit a legal loophole, which allowed them to release new music by Tupac, even while they were involved in litigation with Tupac's mother, Afeni Shakur, over who had the rights to her son's music. The 3 verses are identical to the original song, and Johnny P returns to sing the chorus, which has been reworked to include an interpolation of Tell Me If You Still Care by the SOS Band. Scarface also provides a spoken word eulogy for Tupac at the end of the song, which serves as an outro. While the lyrics are the same, the sound of the 2 songs contrast a great deal. Tupac's original, which he co-produced with Damon Thomas, is upbeat, with sunny keys and bouncy drums. On the other hand, Scarface and his co-producers, Mike Dean and Tone Capone, create a more pensive, wistful sound on the remix. The chorus on each track is also very different, with the original being soulful and uplifting, while the remix sounds more melancholy. Scarface's decision to release Smile as the first single from his album was astute, because it capitalised on the hunger for new Tupac material at the time, taking the song to number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and becoming Scarface's most successful single to date. Tupac provides the first verse and the third verse, and they contrast quite a bit in their content. Verse 1 has a positive message and encourages listeners to keep their sense of humour and a smile on their face to help them overcome life's adversities, including poverty, crime and betrayal by friends. Puck even raps the line, "If you believe then you can achieve, just look at me," which sounds very much like he is portraying himself as a role model. This is notable because Tupac made it clear in interviews and songs earlier in his career that he did not see himself as a role model. This shows that he had perhaps developed the confidence needed to take on the responsibility of being a role model, showing a certain growth and maturity in him as a man. In this verse, Puck is not denying life is hard, but he is stating the importance of keeping a positive outlook. A very commendable message. This really contrasts with songs on his 3rd album, Me Against the World, released just 1 year earlier, in which Tupac is depressed and at times straight up suicidal, and raps with a negative and pessimistic outlook. His mood on Smile for Me Now is much more positive, suggesting he was in a better place emotionally when he recorded the song. In contrast, verse 3 is darker in tone. Puck describes his pain at being stabbed in the back by so-called friends, fear about the ever-present threat of gun violence, and paranoia at attracting the attention of the authorities and going back to prison. He even worries about having children in case he curses them to face the same hardships he has faced. But despite all this, he tells us he still smiles. Scarface's verse is nostalgia tinged with regret, delivered in his signature raspy voice, and is punctuated with nuggets of wisdom. I really like the line, "And a man without a focus, life could drive him insane," which is a particularly insightful lyric. The track is not squeaky clean, because there are a few swears on there, but with its positive message and uplifting chorus, I think it could have easily been a successful single from One Nation. There were very likely going to be 3 singles from the album: Worldwide Dime Piece, Brothers at Arms, and Tattoo Tears. See my videos on each of those songs. So Smile For Me Now could have been a double A-side with one of those, or it could have replaced Brothers at Arms, which I think would have been better left as an album track. Scarface's version of the song was accompanied by a music video, which has a somber black and dark blue colour palette and is filled with mysterious, otherworldly imagery. It opens with police putting up crime scene tape around a vehicle which has been sprayed with bullets, and features a very convincing Tupac lookalike, suspended from ropes high up with his arms outstretched, resembling a victim of a crucifixion. This imagery would, of course, tap into Tupac's tragic demise from gunshot wounds sustained while sitting in the front passenger seat of a car, and the artwork for the Machiavelli album, which featured an image of Tupac crucified on a cross. Lastly, you'll remember at the start of this video, I said Smile For Me Now was officially released in one of its original forms. I said this because there's a version of the song that even predates the one I've been describing in this video. It was produced by Daryl Big D Harper, and he tells YouTube channel Bomb First in a 2014 interview that Tupac requested it to feature a sample of Sarah Smile by Daryl Hall and John Oates. A snippet of this version is played during the interview, and Daryl Harper says that Tupac and Scarface performed their raps to this version. However, it appears that Tupac later decided to produce a new beat for Smile For Me Now with the help of Damon Thomas, possibly because the original beat was of rough quality. Daryl Harper admits that at the time he was still learning to use recording equipment and how to work with samples. This true original version has never been leaked to this day. If you've not heard Smile For Me Now yet, give it a listen, link in the description below, then drop me a comment to let me know what you think.